Hi, I'm Chris Schimmel, and I'm assistant professor in the counseling program at West Virginia University. And I'm here today with my colleague, Dr. Ed Jacobs, a professor in the program as well. And we're here today talking to you. We've got several of these YouTube clips, and we're talking today and focusing on the ideas of group leadership. We have a book that's in its 7th edition, getting ready to come out in its 8th edition, called Group Counseling Strategies and Skills. And we want to focus today in this clip on certain group leadership skills that we think are really important to possessing if you're going to be an effective group leader.
Yes. One of the probably the one that is most important is being clear on the purpose of why you're leading, because there's all kinds of groups, and if you're leading an educational group, that's very different than a therapy group. So make sure you have clarity of purpose. That directs everything. So when someone brings up a subject that's not relevant to the purpose, you can say, let's hold that to either another meeting or let you and I talk about it afterwards. Leaders who have no purpose, they just are trying to fill up time. So clarity of purpose is probably the #1 skill.
The second skill would be just to be clear about your role as the leader. And if you look at go back and look at the first clip, the introductory clip on group counseling that we did, we talk about this idea of whether you're facilitating your group or you're leading your group. And you always want to keep that in mind. What is your role in the group? Typically, most of the time, we're going to encourage you to take more of a leadership stance, and that you would be clear to that, and that your members would very clearly understand that you're the one that's responsible for making something happen in the group.
Yeah, we absolutely believe in an active leadership model for most groups, for school counselors, mental health counselors, drug and alcohol counselors, those working in corrections. Often where the leader is in charge, we have a belief people don't mind being led when they're led well. And that ties in to two things about energy. It's your job as the leader to generate energy in your group, to try to figure out how to energize the members, maybe using a movement activity or a written activity. But it's your job to make the group interesting and to generate energy, and also to read the energy of when you can tell they're getting bored or getting tired, and that might say, let's either take a break if you have a long enough group, or you might say, let's do something else. You change the format some, and you say, okay, let's do this. Why don't the two of you pair up? And that's because you read the energy and you know you need to do something different. That is a leadership skill that you need to master.
Varying the format. Groups, if you're not careful, group members come week after week, and they get into a routine, and it can become boring, doing the same activities or the same processes every week, week in and week out. A strong group leader will vary the format and do different things, have subgroups, run a fishbowl, pair, as Ed was saying, pair members up together to share, doing dyads or triads, doing an exercise and then processing that exercise in different ways. There are a lot of creative ways to vary the format, and that keeps the group interesting.
Key skill is using your eyes effectively. That's two ways, like looking around, like we have an audience here of our students. And if I'm real effective when I talk, I look around. But the harder one is if Chris is talking as a member and I look at her, I don't see what's going on with the members here. So the key is to look at the member some and then pick up on your group. That's really important, that you don't let the members just stare at you, because they will. And then what you're building is a dynamic of you and them connecting, and this is where you use a signal, like take your finger and tell them, say, when you see me do this, it's to get you to look around. Or like if say Jerry was talking to me and he's looking at me, I might go like this. Or if you see me look away from you, you tell the members that you're going to use your eyes. If you see me look away, that's to cue you to look at others. So that, and you'll see so using your eyes effectively is very important.
setting the proper tone. You need to give thought before you start your group about what kind of tone that group is going to have. Is it going to be a very serious tone? Is it going to be a lighter tone? Am I going to set a working tone right from the very beginning? A skilled leader will give thought and pay very close attention to how they go about setting the appropriate tone for the group.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well,
Well,
go
it
ahead.
ties in a little bit actually with the next one, which is using your voice effectively. Because if you use your voice in a way that you don't intend to, you set the wrong tone. And I'll give you a little example. School counselors are often tasked with the idea of, from 12 to 12:30, they may be leading a group with third graders. And then from 12:30 to 1 o'clock, they're going to lead a meeting of parents and adults. You've got to switch the kind of voice that you're using, right, between those two groups. You don't want to use the same voice you used with third grade girls that you use with your parents and teachers. So the tone of voice that you set sets the tone for the group.
The next leadership skill, and this really sums up the essence of group leading. The focus of your group is either on a person, an activity, or it's on a person or a topic or an activity. It's on Chris talking about her mother, or it's about everybody in their relationship with their mother, or it's take out a sheet of paper and list things about you and your mother. But the reason why we say this can guide you. If you just say, my job is to be aware of the focus, and it's about getting people focused, like on the topic of anger, holding the focus, keeping Chris talking about it, where you say, I'm not angry, I'm guilty. Then I say, well, we'll deal with guilt next week. Let's hold the focus on anger. So you get the focus, hold the focus, shift it, because I want to shift from Chris to Luke, and then we shift the focus. And then the other key thing that we want to teach all of you and any of you listening, the key thing is to be able to deepen the focus to where it has impact. The approach that we use is called impact therapy, and you can go to impacttherapy.com and learn more about that. But the goal is to deepen the focus enough to where it has meaning and not just filling up time. So that the key is be aware that the focus is going to be on one of those three things, and then how do I get the focus? How do I hold the focus? And how do I shift it? How do I deepen it? I think what we'll do, this is half of the skills that we teach normally in a workshop. So if you're interested, there'll be another clip on other group skills. And if you want more information, go to impacttherapy.com.